thought I would start vlog 3 by outlining my coaching philosophy. These are the values and principles that aid in my actions as a coach. Question 1 is, what is coaching? To me, I believe as a coach, my primary role is as an educator. I'm a coach because I trust that I have the knowledge and the skills that I can transfer onto the athletes that I work with. I believe my athletes perform all under their own choices at a senior level, and therefore I have a drive for success. Due to my athlete-centered approach that I will talk about in greater detail later on, I would suggest I'm the coach, as without the players there is no coach. The last question is more tricky for me to answer, as the coach holds the final decision, but I believe that the athletes are the largest contributing factor. A little info on the two clients I have here. Both are hockey players for Holcombe Hockey. They play in the English Premier League. During the season, I run one pitch session each week with the team, and then the individuals follow a specific program in the gym that has been laid out for them. As we've now entered the off season, the girls are currently in a technical phase. I encourage each athlete to think of areas that they want to improve on. These two specific girls have asked to run through a technical session, just focusing a little bit more on their cleans. With the girls being of a higher ability level and having greater experience than most, I feel it's more appropriate to use an athlete-centered program. In a team environment, the coaching team has to cater for 20 plus different athletes with different demands and different abilities. My role is to make the most of the athletes I have and not to replicate one athlete 20 times. Therefore, this athlete-centered approach allows me to take into consideration each individual athlete and their capabilities. This model creates very few rules, clear expectations, and creates a positive atmosphere for the athletes to thrive in. The communications between the coach and the athlete are positive. It also creates responsible athletes who take accountability for their own training, their own nutrition, and other aspects of the coaching program. The athlete-centered model creates thinkers, it creates problem solvers and decision makers, all skills that transfer to a more confident athlete when they're back on the pitch. I'm now going to stop talking so we can listen and observe my coaching.
So we've got three positions, which are hand position, drugs, power position, okay, and we have to get used to sitting in those two positions. Hand position is just above your knee, power position your hip. Okay, so we're going to do 3 rounds, 5 seconds, stand up in a normal deadlift position, lower down to your hand position, hold for 5 seconds. We need to make that nice strong force. When we get there, chest over the bar, shoulders back. Okay? Let's go. First one. Okay?
You can.
Yeah, we're back.
My coaching style remains very animated, and I use visual demonstrations throughout my explanation of the exercise. It's worth mentioning this time I do use a whiteboard which covers the session plans, so athletes can refer back to that at any point. Frank et al. Coaching process outlined a model for review of the athlete in more than one area and reminds me to take into consideration other situational factors. The coaching process is an ongoing cycle of performance and practice, within which a coach is required to evaluate, intervene and feedback information to the athlete as necessary. I'd like to now review a little bit more of my coaching in light of explanation of the models that I tend to focus on.
So from here, as we pull, everything extends through, everything comes up at the same time, then we continue on. Okay? What we don't want to do is be pull. Okay? So from here, pause, pause, pause. Okay?
We actually doing those pauses.
Yeah. So we're now going to pause, pause, 5 seconds.
Pause.
Yeah.
Mate, that was fucking heavy.
I'm not too worried about the time pause on the top pull, okay?
Good.
Thinking at our knees. Okay, 5, drop back down. Pause.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Then we come up. Here.
I believe my verbal skills do represent an area I need to focus on. I can see it, I deliver an excess of information both before and during the exercise, which both provide an overload of information for the athlete and an area for confusion. When I critique my coaching, there are several areas I would like to improve on. Although I believe in an athlete-led session, when I review it, it seems I tend to lead and correct rather than listen to concerns that athlete might have. I want to coach so athletes gain confidence in their own performance. Sometimes it seems that I then neglect concepts such as self-guided work. In this specific session, I intended to use several alternative coaching styles due to the fact that I don't spend a huge amount of time one-on-one with this group. This included, and is shown here, with peer review exercises, aiming to get the athlete to highlight issues in each other's techniques. I like this style of coaching as it provides me with the confidence that the athlete is grasping the technique that we have been working on. This also provides the athlete with reassurance of the skill set that they have. The other style of coaching I use regularly is with visual video playback. This features highly in my program as it provides the best option for me to monitor how athletes are getting along at times that I'm not able to have them training with me. Winkleman 2016 outlined guidelines for coaching cues and feedback. However, I believe I have given substandard verbal instructions prior to the girls commencing. I deliver more than the guided 3 pieces of information and deliver what not to do. This overload of information is apparent with the athletes looking for assurance that they've got the exercise correct. When reviewing this coaching model, the athlete remains centred. However, I've broken it down into a method that I feel will help me and the team I work with to deliver the programme going forward. This humanistic approach mentioned by Lyle 2002 builds on the assumption that athletes are whole and complete. They harbour the resources and skills to complete and compete in given tasks, and the positive coaching dialogue allows for them to realise that. Looking at an overall view of areas I need to improve on, I think that it's clear that when instructing I would suggest my athletes would benefit more from self-discovery and less from leading and correction. I seem to overload on verbal cues. I think this is due to my initial deliveries remaining too vague. I think more thought on my cues would improve this. I do think there is weight to the argument that I use too many teaching styles. Potentially by using a single style that's more appropriate for the athlete, this may improve the information retention of that specific athlete. When looking at an overview of my positive skills I've observed, I have a good relationship with my athletes, which creates trust and allows for an improved positive training atmosphere. My use of multiple coaching styles allows me to be adaptable to the needs of the individual athlete, but I must be aware of the individual needs in a team scenario as well. I give good positive feedback that helps to instill confidence back to the athlete, which often then converts to more positive on-pitch performance. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my vlog.